Welcome and thank you for joining us for the LinkedIn 101 Understanding the Basics workshop on behalf of Crew DC. My name is Hannah Flattery. Parker Ashley, sorry, recently got married, so still working with the new last name. And I am the Vice President of Red Thinking. Red Thinking is a digital brand strategy and design agency here in the DMV area. And we have been working with Crew DC on their social media strategy and management since spring of 2020. And we are really excited to be sharing everything we know about setting up your LinkedIn profile, setting up and modifying your LinkedIn profile for success, exploring the different networking opportunities available on LinkedIn, and sharing some of our best practices and how to create content and strategically engage with others. So I will let my colleagues, Nicole and Lauren, also introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Nicole McCrimmon. I'm the social media coordinator and content specialist with Red Thinking. I've been working in social media for the last 5 years and kind of do all things organic. So very nice, very happy to be here and great to meet all of you. Lauren?
And my name is Lauren Howard. I'm the senior digital strategist at Red Thinking. Been working in social media for about 10 years. About the past 5, it's been more focused in the paid area, but I have been working with Crew since goodness, 2020 now. We've been working with Crew, working on social media and brand strategy. So this should be a lot of fun.
Great, and we will have a time at the end of the presentation to answer any questions, but of course, if there's something that you need clarification on during the presentation, the team will be monitoring the chat, so feel free to post any questions, and if we feel like they need to be answered in that moment, we will definitely communicate as a team to answer them, or if we just want to answer them as at the end, we can hold them there too. All right, so we will jump right into it. Why is LinkedIn a helpful tool for professionals? So as I'm sure you know, LinkedIn is a social networking platform primarily for professionals. And it gives you the opportunity to easily and cast a wide net to network with for professional networking opportunities. LinkedIn's platform makes it easy to search for connections based off of job titles and companies. And with every new connection that you make, on average, it introduces you to about 400 new people. So it's a very valuable platform, which is why we want to make sure you feel set up for success to put your best foot forward especially when developing your own personal brand on LinkedIn. Also on LinkedIn, you can grab the attention of people you may not be able to offline. And just a little fun fact that 87% of the Inc. 500 companies use LinkedIn to tell stories, recruit, and network. So there's a lot of value on LinkedIn. The opportunities are truly endless, and we're excited to help you be set up for success. So for setting up your account and profile, I will toss it over to Nicole.
Okay, so when you're first starting to set up your profile, we're going to go just top to bottom. And when you set up your profile, the first thing that people see is the cover photo. And that's that rectangular photo right at the top. We have a little example of the top of a profile over to the bottom right. LinkedIn profiles that have something in the cover photo area, meaning they're not just like the default what's there, they get 11 times more views on average. So adding anything there graphic wise automatically gets more views on your profile. Even though LinkedIn is not as heavily a photo sharing app as like Instagram, which is where you typically think of sharing photos, people in general are way more likely to remember what they see rather than what they read. So your cover photo at the top, visual representation of yourself is a great way to capture a visitor's attention and let them know what you represent and help them decide whether or not they want to continue finding out about you. When you're thinking about ideas for cover photos, it may not automatically come to you. So we have just a few ideas here that you could use. Something that represents your field, your contact info so that people can easily contact you off of LinkedIn, a personal photo of yourself that you believe relates well to your personal brand or your company. A picture of your workspace, if you have like a well-organized workspace, or something that has or a workspace that you've worked hard on to maintain an aesthetic, it would look really nice in your cover photo a lot of the time. Your company logo can work there, depending on the orientation, or if you want to put that on top of another photo. Your favorite quote works well as a cover photo, an image of an award or an accomplishment that you've achieved, something that represents your hobby. And then lastly, just an abstract image that you like. For instance, on my page, I have a photo that matches well with my profile photo, color wise. So that's also an idea. The best dimensions for the cover photo are this 1584 by 396 pixels, and pretty much nothing is naturally sized that way. So what we suggest is signing up for Canva, which is a free to use online graphic design tool, and it'll help you resize the graphic, and it'll also be there for if you need to go back again and get it again, you can make your own profile and it'll save in there. But that's just an easy way to resize whatever graphic that you already have. You can also, add some text over a photo that you already have or a logo. It's just a great tool to be able to make that cover photo. Some things to keep in mind, some best practices, is your cover photo should be good quality and not blurry. You definitely don't want to use a blurry photo, something well lit, something that is engaging. You don't need to use a picture of your face because the cover photo always appears on top of your profile photo, and ideally your profile photo is your face. Another thing to keep in mind is asking your company if they offer a template with maybe their logo, or they may already have one pre-made or something that you can add to. That's also a great idea for a cover photo as well. Then after your cover photo, we go right to the profile photo. Again, that usually appears with the cover photo. You want it to be you. Adding a photo to your profile makes you 36 times more likely to receive a message. So people are way more likely to reach out to you, keep you in mind for different opportunities that they're thinking of if you have a photo in your profile. A profile with LinkedIn profiles with a profile photo also receive 21 times more views than those that don't have a profile photo. So when people are searching for you based on your name or your job title or any other qualification, they're looking for a picture of you. So if you have a photo there, you're way more discoverable. And then profile, you don't necessarily have to use a professional headshot, and this is different across the board, but LinkedIn has found that profiles that have professional headshots get 14 times more views. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and toss it over to Lauren to start with headline versus your position.
All right, so right underneath your profile photo, you are able to have both headline and position listed there. There's already very limited opportunities for LinkedIn in comparison to other social media channels for you to personalize your page. So you have to be strategic with the real estate that you have. Your headline and your position are two very unique places where you get to do this that are often overlooked. As I mentioned, they're at the top of your page underneath the profile photo. And they are set to be the same thing. So unless you change your headline becomes your position. So with this example photo here, Jane, her position is listed there. That is also her headline, no changes, no updates. But the headline gives you an opportunity to, like I said, make it a little more personal and say a little bit more about you. So you can think of it like a really simple, really brief elevator pitch. One sentence, as it says, up to 220 characters that really encompass who you are and what you do, something memorable, something that sticks out. Thinking things like unique value propositions, your worthwhile achievements, areas of expertise, hard skills, and extracurricular activities, as long as they maintain a level of professionality and how you want to present who you are and what your brand is. Highly suggest making your headline slightly different than your position. All right, and then you also have the opportunity to make your profile and turn on creator mode. So this is a profile setting that can help you grow your reach and your influence on LinkedIn. think of it kind of like making yourself an unofficial LinkedIn influencer without like a little blue check mark. This is more than just hashtags on your profile header. This will change your connect button to a follow button. So your friends become your followers, your connections automatically turn into followers. It makes you more discoverable. But the thing to remember is, like I said, it makes it easier for people to follow you, but that makes it harder for people to connect with you. So if you're looking to build your network, your professional connections, keep it more personal, I don't recommend turning creator mode on. But if you are looking to expand your reach and grow that way, it is an option that you should be considering.
And then I'll take over for completing your profile and just finish your profile, the nitty gritty of your profile. It's important to make sure that you fill out everything in your profile as much as you can. People want to learn as much as they can about you, and a completely filled out profile is more likely to get connections. So when we're talking about completing it, the about section, it's what's next. And that's similar to the summary or the purpose section of a resume. And it presents you an opportunity to tell a longer story about yourself, your goals, or your accomplishments. After that is the work experience section, which of course is extremely important on your LinkedIn profile to show your work experience. It's way more than just a resume though. You don't want to basically just copy and paste what's on a resume onto your LinkedIn profile, because this is not just to help you find a position. You would usually update your resume and condense it, make it a more condensed version, whereas your LinkedIn profile is your opportunity to tell the long story about your career experience, what you've done at certain jobs. And the people that are looking at your LinkedIn profile are investing more time than somebody who would be looking at your resume. Your resume is usually only updated when you're looking for a new job, whereas your LinkedIn profile should be updated every time that it's relevant. Anytime you develop new skill sets or you grow in your career, you should update your LinkedIn profile. So it's a living page. People are always going to it. You want to make sure that it's consistently updated. And then here's your education, licenses, and certifications, and your volunteering and skills. Now, when you're talking about your education, you want to make sure that you're including all of your previous education information, as well as your current if you are a student right now. The description field in the education section, if you don't have extensive work experience in the field that you're hoping to grow in, this is an opportunity to really tell a full story about your time in school. If you're newly post-grad, this is really a great piece of your LinkedIn profile to talk about why what you did in school is relevant to the positions that you're looking for now. This is more information for you to give to more potential employers, or even make better connections within the industry that you're in. After that is your licenses and certifications. That's just pretty simple. You want to list all of the licenses and certifications that you have on your profile so that people can easily see, okay, she has this, he has this, they have this. I'm looking for all of these things and checking those boxes. Any volunteering work that you've done goes under that. And then after volunteering is your skills. Now, this isn't just necessarily, you can list out skills based on jobs that you've had, but what LinkedIn has, they also offer skills tests. And these are produced by subject matter experts who have extensive experience in generating exam and certification content. So you can choose whether you want to display these on your profile. You can take them first and then decide, okay, based on this score, I want to or I don't want to. Test that if you score below a 70% on a test, it's automatically not going to be displayed on your profile. You'll also have another opportunity to take it again. But if you fail it a second time, you'll have to wait 3 months to take it. So you want to ensure that you're not just taking a bunch of skills tests just to see where you are. You want to take tests that are in line with your field, things that you know that you're already knowledgeable about, and certification of things that would qualify you for positions that you are already qualified for. Some employers, when you're applying for jobs on LinkedIn, might ask for a test, but they're never going to be required. So that's just something to keep in mind. Under that are languages. You want to make sure that you're putting languages that you're fluent in, so that positions that are looking for someone speaking that language are looking in the right place. And then after that are interests and causes. And that's where you can connect with different organizations on LinkedIn. You can add them to your profile, certain organizations that you're interested in. It's just a great way to tell a little bit more about yourself, and what causes and interests you have. And then I am going to turn it over to Lauren for unique features and settings.
All right, so LinkedIn provides some settings that you don't see on other profiles or on other channels. Some of them you do. So for example, name pronunciation can be added using the mobile app. You can't really do it through desktop. A great option if you have a name that's harder to pronounce or it's pronounced in a different way than it would be traditionally thought, and depending on how you prefer it to be said. Definitely recommend following up with that if your name is any kind of an outlier, or even if you're job searching, it helps out with recruiters and other people who are trying to, put their best foot forward and make a good impression. You can also identify your preferred pronouns. Something truly unique to LinkedIn are the open to work frames. These are added to your profile image so that people can quickly identify if you're open to a new position or if you are actively hiring. Great thing to come out of the pandemic past couple of years, because it makes it very apparent that your profile is one to look at for if you're hiring or if you're looking to get a new job. Something to keep in mind, this is public. So if you are job searching and you don't necessarily want your employer to know about it, whatever the reason may be, if you put the frame on it, it is public. It is public to see. The other thing to just note is when you put it on your profile, make sure that it doesn't cover your face so it doesn't counteract the profile picture that is beautiful and lovely in the professional headshot that you added in earlier. And then also just make sure your settings and privacy are where you want them to be. You can customize these to things like your profile photo, whether or not it's shown, locations, connections. Just make sure it's as up to date as possible. It's an important piece to remember.
Yeah, and when we were creating this presentation, Lauren actually brought up a good point to just double check that, because you may want to be opening up your profile settings a little bit more than maybe what LinkedIn has already set it for. She was telling us a story how she didn't realize until that nobody could see her profile image unless you were already connected with her, until somebody told her. So just a little kind of tidbit of information, and this was years ago, so but
it is not real.
Just a little bit of information of like how secure or private you might want your profile to be, and probably if you're looking to network with new people, having your profile image be seen by those who are not just in your network may be something you want to make sure you have turned off. So alrighty, so let's connect. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how you, once your profile is completed, how you actually grow your connections and different, avenues that you can do that. LinkedIn does have a complex algorithm that will suggest friends based off of many factors such as your interests, your location, company, industry, the interactions that you've made online, and any mutual friends. So that's why setting up your profile and doing it accurately and in a way that truly represents the personal brand you want to reflect and the career aspirations that you have is really important, because then LinkedIn will do its due diligence to connect you to the people that will help you move along in your career and make the connections that will be meaningful to you. If you are looking to add somebody that is not automatically suggested as a friend, you can go to the search bar that is typically in the upper left-hand corner, and we recommend typing in their name and company, or if you know what university that they went to, adding in that information. And if they don't automatically appear in the drop-down, then you'll go to a search page and you'll be able to figure them out. Hopefully, just as you have added your profile image, the person you're searching for will also have added their profile image in case there are multiple people with that name, so that you can accurately choose the correct person to connect with. A question we get a lot is who should be my friend? And, back in the beginning stages of LinkedIn, I think everybody was connecting with everybody. And then that has really changed recently because, if you're connected to somebody on LinkedIn, an outside connection genuinely thinks that you are connected somehow to that person. You either know them physically in person, you know them virtually, there's some genuine connection. Maybe you are interested in the same types of topics, same causes, what have you. But there's two reasons why it's important to be mindful of who you're connecting with. One, so that if other people within your industry, your connections, are looking to grow their connections, then you may be connected to someone who they would like to be introduced to. If you don't really know them and it's kind of a little awkward, be like, oh yeah, I might be connected with them, but I can't really help you because I don't actually know who that person is. Additionally, the way LinkedIn is set up is, and we'll get into the news feed in the next slide, but as you are interacting with content that your connections are creating, people can see what you interact with. So you always want to keep your target audience and your career aspirations in mind to ensure that any content that your peers or connections are producing that you are choosing to interact with, that somebody can likely see what it is that you're interested in and how you're interacting on a day-to-day basis or week to week, however often you log into LinkedIn. And we recommend that if you are looking to connect with somebody who may be an acquaintance, a member of Crew DC that you haven't yet met at an event or something yet, to always include a nice welcoming message along with your connection request, because the beauty of LinkedIn and the purpose for LinkedIn is certainly to be connecting with people more than just in your physical day-to-day world, and adding that welcoming message just goes a long way. And again, your personal brand is more than just your profile image and everything you put into your LinkedIn profile. It's how you present yourself to others, and having this message is a great opportunity to just differentiate yourself a little bit more. And lastly, LinkedIn does have groups. They may not be as active as Facebook is, but they're a great networking tool and give you a great opportunity to connect with like-minded individuals or those who have similar interests outside of, your initial connections. All right, so moving on to sharing content, Nicole.
So when you're sharing content, this is the content that's going to go on your page. These are things that are popping up on your news feed most of the time that you agree with, that you want to share with your network. So we're going to start out with, where can I find shareable material? Most of that is going to come from profiles that you follow on LinkedIn. They're talking about your industry or the things that you want to talk about. And basically you resonate with it and you want to see you want your followers to see it or your connections to see it. So you share it onto your page. This can be your personal connections, LinkedIn creators, or brand pages. So these are people that you have already connected to, but you're also, like Hannah was saying, when you interact with things on your newsfeed, other people can see it. So when your network connects with people out that you don't follow, you'll see it on your newsfeed a lot of the time as well. And so that's how you can find different material to share. You'll notice that you'll find more relevant material the more that you follow people that are within your industry. And as you get more followers and more connections, you'll find more material that you want to share. You can also search hashtags to connect with your intended audience. LinkedIn does use hashtags, so you can always search the hashtag or the topic that you're looking to connect with people about, and find shareable material that way. Sharing ideas and sharing content on LinkedIn allows you to share ideas and to connect with those who share interests as well. So it's a way where you don't have to necessarily take as much brain power to create your own posts, but it's showing that this is in line with what I work on. This is in line with my interests. And so I want to also share this and basically put my own stamp of approval on it. It's also a way to virtually network. Everybody gets a little excited when they see that their content has been shared. So it's a great way to network with people who you agree with. It also allows you the ability to establish credibility for yourself and your employer, and to further develop your own personal brand. Again, because you're always reposting things, or you're always sharing things that are in line with thought leadership within your industry, or people within your industry that you are in line with. Now, when you're sharing content, you can kind of blanket share it. You can decide, this is perfect as it is. I'm just going to go ahead and click share and share it to my network. Another option, and something that is kind of a little bit more stronger on the side of forming those personal connections and letting people know that you're sharing thoughtful content, is to sharing with a comment. So when you click share, it'll allow you to type in a little comment as well. There's value in sharing that because it allows context. It allows you to give context to what you're reposting. It allows you to add a little bit of your opinion about what's being shared. It also gives you an opportunity to show some thought leadership. So you may be reposting an article that is very well researched. You're really impressed by the article, and you have just a little extra to share. That little extra to share lets people know that, okay, you know what you're talking about. This is the person that I want to connect with if I want to see some more of this kind of content. It's a really great opportunity. We definitely recommend sharing with a comment more than just blanket sharing, because again, it gives people to get a feel of your voice, your online presence, but it allows you to connect with other users as well.
And I'll just add to that too, sharing with a comment too, if you wanted to tag your own company, if they're involved in something that in the article or the post that you're sharing, is great. If you want to tag, another individual who, they might find the content interesting. It's just, again, that one step further to create that online connection and that growing that online network through utilizing the different tools that LinkedIn offers, which is always great. I mean, and at the end of the day too, like, though LinkedIn is a professional network, it is also a social media network, and the intent is to be social. So any way you can add that aspect of being social in is always recommended.
And Lauren's going to handle your news feed.
Yeah, so it is nice to get to know your newsfeed. Know that you can filter at the top. You're able to toggle between top posts, which are determined by an algorithm, and recent posts, which are chronological. Great way to look at, okay, what is trending in my industry versus what is trending with my connections. That just a little different, but easy way to sort instead of just being overwhelmed by everything at once. The content that you'll find are based primarily on your friends, what they're sharing, what they're interacting with, any kind of companies that you follow, any organizations you might follow, as well as ads and sponsored content. Yes, there are ads on LinkedIn for good, bad, and different. It does happen, so you will find them. How you can post on the newsfeed: keep accessibility best practices in mind. This includes captions to a video if you're narrating or if someone's speaking. And when it comes to hashtag, capitalize the first letter each word, makes it easier to read through. That way, if there's 6 or 7 words in your hashtag, don't necessarily recommend it, but if there are, it is very clear what each word is. I joke that I'm an old lady. I can't read hashtags if they're all in lowercase. I get confused really easily. And in my mind, if I do it, more people do it. So capitalizing the first word in each part of the hashtag is a great tool and a great piece to keep in mind. Use relevant hashtags, keep it professional, tag people and companies when appropriate. And LinkedIn is a great place to share longer form content and self-promotional content. It's the reason why people come to the platform, so don't be afraid to use it. There are some social media platforms where shorter is better. I know Instagram, they're trying to make those captions super tiny, if any captions at all some days. LinkedIn is not like that. People will click in, people will read more, people will look into articles, so don't be afraid to use them. And then interacting with posts on your feed doing so is just as important on LinkedIn as it is on Facebook, as it is on Instagram, anywhere other platform you might be using. They're categorized into different reactions, so you can like, celebrate, support, love, find something insightful, or even curious. And the best way to engage is to comment. It helps rank content higher and it encourages people who you interact with to return the same genuine engagement. It's important to keep in mind that the more you interact, the more you can reach new audiences. Your feed is different than my feed. My feed is different than Nicole's feed. It's based on who you're connected to, your industry. So it's important to remember that if you like something or you want to get something out to a broader audience, you think more people would find it interesting, a comment will hold more weight than just reacting to it. It's also important to note that networking is the primary goal of LinkedIn, and doing it genuinely through conversations, being part of and starting conversations, doing it through comments holds a lot more weight and carries a lot more weight than just, like I said, reacting, or as Nicole mentioned, just sharing and forgetting. And I will toss it on back to Hannah.
Great. Well, that brings us to the end of our LinkedIn 101. We are thrilled to be able to kind of run everybody through this presentation, and this is being recorded. So I will share this with Kathy afterwards, along with the presentation, so that everybody has access to it. I know we had one question come in during the presentation from Stephanie. If you're a committee member and board member of Crew DC, how do you link that to your profile? Lauren, do you mind speaking to that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So there are a couple of different ways that I recommend doing it. One of the ways that I've seen makes this stick out a little bit more and it's more successful is if you actually add it as job experience. So you can put that it is a career, you can go back and add it retroactively. So if you have been on committees, it'll tie there and you'll still pop up as employees of the organization. You can also link it with, I guess you could do volunteer experience, but that's a little bit further down on the page. People don't always go that far. It's almost like the same idea that if it lives on the second page of Google, a lot of people don't see it. They stick with the first and the easiest. So I would definitely recommend linking it as a job in your work experience.
And probably even in your headline too.
Yes, that as well.
I've tried to link it in organizations, but it's like I can't get the logo. It's like you can't link to the company. You can list it, but you can't link it so that the little logo shows up. That's what I was trying to get to happen. Is that only in the job experience?
For organizations, unfortunately, it's assuming that it's organizations that you're interested in, not necessarily organizations that you're connected to. So when you put it under volunteer, it allows you to add the role. But I believe that's the only other option other than adding it with your work experience.
Okay. I'll play around with that a little bit. Thanks.
No, great question.
It's like I think if you have the logo there,
yeah,
it catches people's eye better.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
hey, how do I make this happen?
Right. Yeah, it would be really convenient to be able to say, hey, I'm interested in this organization because I'm a board member. But unfortunately, LinkedIn has not caught up to that just yet.
Yeah, I looked at that as I am involved in this organization, not just I'm interested in this organization.
Exactly.
Okay, thanks. Helpful.
No problem. Are there any other questions? You can either unmute yourself or drop them in the chat.
Hi guys. Oh, sorry, let me fix my camera. This is LaShawn. I just wanted to say on my page, I do have Crew DC linked to my page under licenses and certifications as a member, and it does show up actually as a link to Crew DC. I don't know if that's helpful or not. I just wanted to point that out.
That might be a good way to do it. Thanks, LaShawn.
You're welcome.
Mine, Stephanie, is listed under volunteer, and I accrue, and I have both of my crew positions for Maryland Suburban, but I've not tried to link it any other way. It's there, and all I do every year is just add my new one so that I don't screw something up.
How often do you recommend sharing content to bump yourself up in the feed? Nicole, would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, honestly, we advise to get into a cadence that you can keep up with. So there's not like a magic number. It also, the more content that you post, obviously the more questions you open yourself up to, because you're hoping to get more engagement, but you want to also go for quality over quantity. So I don't necessarily think that you should pick a number, especially if you're starting out and most of your content is kind of shared content. You want to make sure that you're sharing valuable content, but you do want to pay attention to the cadence. So if you know that you have more time on Monday to go on LinkedIn, and that's when you typically will find things to share, maybe save some things for later, share them later on in the week if you know that you don't necessarily have more time to look for things to share. And if you're planning out posts, I would say if you've planned out like 7 posts and you want to put them over the course of 2 weeks, just space them out evenly so that people know you're on this cadence. Okay, I haven't seen a post from so and so in a while, let me go back and check, instead of just kind of bombarding the feed as you see things to share, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I would also recommend, if you're looking for content to start, I mean, tomorrow we have our workshop on focus more on business and organization LinkedIn profiles, but see if your company does do a blog, and if they do it on, a weekly or monthly cadence, that could be a great way for you to utilize content that's aligned with your company and your industry. And, if somebody else is already doing the legwork for the blog content, you can then add your opinion to it. And it's a great way to promote your company and link back to their website, which gets down into SEO value and all of those lovely marketing buzzwords. But just another way to look for content that you're not necessarily having to create from scratch. On the flip side of that, is posting more than once a day okay? Lauren.
Yeah, it's definitely okay. LinkedIn will try and diversify the newsfeed as much as humanly possible. It'll try and promote different topics depending on what you're sharing and what you're posting. I would almost lean to diversifying the topics you're posting if you're doing it multiple times a day, so that it's more likely to pop up more. Also, you'll probably show up more in the chronological side of the newsfeed as opposed to the top that comes from the algorithm. Can definitely do that. I know I am if anyone has seen my page, I am very guilty of sharing about 6 things in one day, and then I go away for a little bit and then I'll come back. And I have noticed that from my personal experience, usually when I share multiple things in a day, let's just say the magic number one day is 3, I will get most interaction on 1 or 2 of them. I will not get a lot of interaction on all 3. So just being careful by being too much, but you can definitely post more than once a day.
And I would say that LinkedIn, I think a lot of us sometimes are a little bit gun shy to brag about ourselves, but that's literally why LinkedIn is created, is to promote yourself and promote everything that you're doing. And people come to this platform for that, whether it be promoting yourself or promoting your business. Like, that's really what LinkedIn's all about. And another trend that we had seen a lot during the pandemic was a shift to include more personal, still professional, but personal updates on LinkedIn, because I think people were getting tired of seeing certain information on Facebook, and they weren't using that platform as much, but they were still craving that human connection, and they were using LinkedIn a little bit for that. Now, we don't necessarily recommend, sharing all of your family pictures on LinkedIn, especially because you still want to keep it professional. But I think there is still value in some more casual yet professional type of images. So if you get together, for a casual networking opportunity, and you just snap a photo of everybody together, you may not be all in suits or business casual, but it was still a great way to get together. There's a lot of value in sharing that content, and certainly whenever you can share content with real photos, that's always what we recommend. And if you can't, then sometimes even finding a free stock image is always a great idea if you want to share a post and have it be visual, because even though this is not Instagram, we all are very visual. So if we see something, visually pleasing that catches our eye, we're more likely to stop and then read what else there is to say. Any other questions? Great.
Great
Well,
question.
sorry, Nicole.
No, I was saying great questions, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Thank you all for joining us today. As I mentioned, this will be recorded and the presentation will be shared. And for those of you who are joining us tomorrow for the part 2 of this, for businesses, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We hope you have a great rest of your Monday and a great end or beginning to your week.